80s, 90s kids. What's something a school teacher did to you that would not fly today? 6th grade teacher Ms. Sullivan would take 3 kids every Friday to McDonald's for lunch. She was cool as hell. Smoked during the drive and everything. English teacher in high school used to cuss kids out for being noisy in class, and if that didn't work, he'd throw the blackboard eraser at us. I wasn't on the receiving end of the eraser. That chalk would leave marks on kids' backs for the rest of the day, so everyone knew who pissed off Mr. Charvet. In high school we would sometimes play knee soccer, which was in our wrestling room. Wall-to-wall wrestling mats. And was really just handball but on our knees. The PE teacher, football coach, let us play rough since it was an all-male class and we were on our knees and couldn't do too much damage. During the game 2 of the students were grappling for the ball, and as these things go, one of them accidentally knocked the other a little too aggressively. The kid that got hit, and known asshole of the school, got pissed and stood up and kicked the other kid. The PE teacher, 225 pounds, jacked military haircut, stormed over and shoved the kid, who flew about 10 feet before crashing to the ground. The kid gets up ready to fight whoever shoved him, and the teacher had closed the gap and started screaming at him. Then the teacher lectured the entire class about sportsmanship and honor. The teacher never got in any trouble. My high school study skills teacher used to A. throw your book bag over the railing outside the class to the first floor below if you fell asleep, B. threw chalkboard erasers at you if you were caught talking during his lectures, C. got a megaphone in your ear if you fell asleep and didn't notice your book bag tossed. Funny thing is, Mr. Stewart was somehow one of the most liked teachers in school. Circa 1997. It was my first grade. I shook the ruler in my hand. And teacher took my ruler and hit me with it, causing my nose bleeding. Few years later I found out that she also had been working as a school psychology ST. My elementary school teacher used to say to kids, "You're cruising for a bruising," and once washed out my friend Jermaine's mouth out with soap. This was circa 1987. We had a math teacher at my school that all of the girls would complain about him randomly rubbing their shoulders while they were trying to work. I never had him, but everyone who did would confirm. It was always like a joke and people would laugh about how creepy he was. But nobody made a big deal out of it for some reason. I wonder if he still works there. Punishments in my elementary school. Standing with nose in corner. Bending over and touching toes for a long time. Paddling with a thick wood paddle from principal. Knuckles wrapped with ruler. Edit. Forgot one. Long white cloth banner with tattletale emblazoned vertically that was pinned to back of shirt and worn for duration of day. Had a teacher that would call students Special Olympians if anyone would make a mistake or say something he deemed stupid. My elementary school principal would pull loose teeth. You could go to his office, have him pull your loose tooth, and he would give you a lollipop. One of the kindest, most well-liked teachers in my high school was a gay man named Mr. McCreary. One day after school, he walked by a group of us. And the health teacher, wrestling coach, says, "There goes Mr. McQueary." Even back then, we all just kind of looked at him blankly. Birthday wax from the teacher. As odd as it sounds, the teacher would 100% get fired for doing that. Even though she never touched me. It just seemed normal, and this was in like the mid-90s. In 5th grade, I was called to the office at my public school. I was a goody two-shoes, so I had no idea why I was called. So I started tearing up, thinking something bad must have happened to my family. Eventually, I was ushered into a room as my two best friends left. The principal and two other staff members then sat me down and showed me a piece of paper. It was a silly poem I wrote one of my friends about a good witch who granted wishes by mixing together some mundane ingredients. Apparently, their mother found the poem and complained to the school. Their reasons was to interview my friends about my religion. They asked stuff like if I drew any weird symbols, and one friend said yes because I always drew the school symbol for Balam Garden, Final Fantasy VIII, on my notebooks. So by the time they got to ME, they were basically trying to get me to admit practicing witchcraft at school. Public school, which I was not. I was a church every Sunday Christian and knew nothing of actual witchcraft. Not that it should matter. But they said they could tell by my tears that I knew I did something wrong. They put me in detention for the day in the principal's office and never informed my parents. Ironically, the year prior, I had drawn an angel in art class during some fundraising event where you could get your kids' art put on merchandise. Right next to me on a file cabinet was a magnet of my angel drawing that the principal who put me in witchcraft jail had bought for herself. Lol. I'm honestly trying to think of something, but really the only thing that comes to mind was that school took us to the cinema to watch Gremlins. 90s kid. If we ever had to go somewhere a bit more far and take a bus, our teacher let us go there by ourselves and come with his car. We were 9 to 12 years old, so elementary school in us terms, I guess. He would ask if anyone knew where the place was and made them a leader to take the class there. Edit. Also because school pays these trips, so he would give the school's bus card that had like 500 euros loaded into it to someone so we can pay for those kids who didn't have the bus ticket. Throw a book at kids. My 5th grade gym teacher made me do push-ups in front of the class. I was overweight, so I couldn't do any. Then she'd say, "This is what happens if you eat too much food." There were other, even heavier kids in class. But she never chose them for this activity. Just me. Once in 6th grade we were on an outdoors trip with one teacher going first and another one last. The last one was kicking the last 5 kids to make us go faster. My 4th grade teacher was a softball player in her younger years. When you weren't paying attention, she'd hurl a stick of chalk at you. She rarely missed. She was awesome too. Late 90s, my one stone, 2nd grade teacher would punish the talkative kids by putting us against the wall with our arms up and beat us with a ruler if we put them down due to pain, numbness, or being tired. I don't think that would be acceptable nowadays.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Heracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.